of course, our maybe you can share a little bit to our younger generations. What can they engage in? What is the best way you could suggest them to engage in this kind of culture to be a bridge to the world for Asian and other cultures together?
Yeah. One of the professors at MIT, his name is Samuel Huntington, and he talks so much about the crash of civilizations, which I don't really agree with him. And I think, since the world is emerging into a global village, I think we as educators or ordinary people, should try our best to increase mutual understandings with different cultures, different peoples, so that we can minimize or even avoid misunderstandings or confrontations. I think that's the way to go for us now.
Especially in the digital world. Communications and culture exchange, and that makes a better world.
Exactly. I think as Chinese American, myself and
me,
the Chinese and you and Chinese in this country, I think Asian studies can have double meanings. Okay, mm-hmm. On the one hand, we as Chinese Americans, we can identify with our ethnic heritage. Mm-hmm. So this identification part is significant for us to feel that we are part of this multicultural
world,
society.
Yeah, society.
And then on the other hand, I think as Chinese Americans, we can act like cultural ambassadors. We promote, we try to help others to understand our culture. So we're just like cultural ambassadors so that we can bridge the gap between the different cultures within this society. So, it's very, very meaningful for the young viewers, for the young people to try to do, number one, ethnic identification, and secondly, to be the cultural ambassador.
Well said on that. Well, you played great roles and responsibility in those culture exchange. You also played a lot of good roles in our organizations that help our communities as well as the charity works. Of course, you have a lot of association with your universities, such as the University of Hong Kong, University of Tokyo, University of Los Angeles, California at Los Angeles, and the Berkeley as well, and so on and so on, even including the Wuhan University in China.
Right.
So when you had those associations with those universities, in your books, a lot of contents from your books, do they adapt some of your textbook, your ideas into their textbooks in your school?
Of course, yeah, they do. In fact, my books are in English and in Chinese, so therefore, in the Chinese world, in the English-speaking world, my books are being adopted by many of the universities.
Okay. So when you write those books, do you use some of those associations that you went to school, you went to universities, you visit them, you saw what the schools, they do? Of course, you input those ideas into your books as well to share.
And also in my talks.
In your talks.
on campuses,
conferences
in
and
different places too.
Articles and publications.
Yeah, I try my best to do whatever I can, to promote what I believe in. Yes.
Especially, of course, our Asian studies.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I read an article. I think I read the article about that. How you do at this school, you put a lot of Americans or Western students into kind of like the activities you do for them to join our culture exchange program. And one of the program you call them Join China.
Yes.
You literally took them to China,
yes.
To those historical places or to get the first-hand information.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. How did those students go with that? Were they excited? Did they know a lot of those our Asian? China has a great history,
yes.
Has a lot of information they have to learn. And do you do that every year with those students?
Exactly, we do it. I believe that studying a culture is not just in the books.
In the books, yeah.
I think if possible, students should really go to that country and to be on site and to observe full personal experiences. So that's why we not only hold activities on campus about Chinese culture, but every summer we take students to China, to Beijing, to go to the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, and we also go to Xi'an.
Right, that's the historical.
The old capital of China, and also go to Shanghai.
Shanghai, the modern world.
You see the old and the new China, and we've been doing this for about 20 years now.
Wow.
And we have not heard a single complaint except compliments, saying, wow, that changed my life. We really enjoyed the trip and so on. So we've been doing this time after time, and we'll be doing this coming summer also.
When they went there, do they speak Chinese, or they still speak English, or they know some of the Chinese? Or they must have some fun stories, right?
Yes. We don't require them to be able to speak in Chinese before they go. In fact, one of the reasons why we do that is to try to motivate them to learn Chinese. Okay, so what we do is that we, in Beijing, in Xi'an, as well as in Shanghai, sometimes even some other cities also, we work with the local universities in all these places so that our students can mingle with their students in China, so that they can become buddies. They tour together, in evenings, and they have their interactions, so they can become friends.
So they feel like they live in China, the real world. What is China like?
So the Chinese students can help them to translate sometimes, so they don't need to speak the language at all.
Kind of like what I had before that. My English teachers, they came to China, then I was with them all the time,
right.
Going through places and being an interpreter, kind of like. But it's fun to know what their culture is,
Exactly.
Right? And then they learn exactly how we do in China.
So this is like cultural appreciation.
And they had a lot of fun, right?
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. They probably sometimes don't want to come back anymore.
Yeah, some of them said, wow, can we stay longer at the time when they're about to leave.
Right.
So,
so usually you take about a month to go there every year?
Several weeks. Yeah.
Several weeks.
Yeah.
And you go like a group people or just a few?
Yeah, group.
A group people, kind of like a delegation.
A large group.
Yes. So you have to be there as a head to go?
I have to be with them.
Wow. Maybe I should join you too one day.
Why not? Why not? You're welcome.
With all this culture, the exchange program you had, with all the accomplishments that you had throughout these years, many of